finally got around to watching that new Kevin Hart movie. I was waiting to watch it with my girl, but she was like, "Oh, I don't like Kevin Hart like that, but I'll watch it with you," which means that she ain't want to watch it, which is fine. So I waited it out. I haven't watched it. I didn't really think about it as much, because I hadn't seen any reviews. I hadn't seen anything good or bad. Seen anybody mention it, which is usually not a good sign. The worst thing, especially in the internet world now, is to be indifferent. So nobody's saying anything good. Nobody's saying anything bad. It's usually not a good thing. You kind of really only. I mean, if you only got negative comments, that'd be better than no comments. So, but anyway, so I hadn't seen anything about it, so I kind of forgot about it. That Kevin Hart even had a show on a movie on Netflix that was premiering, right? And then I seen somebody come or post about it on Instagram about it not being very good. And so I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to watch that movie, right? So people who don't know, Kevin Hart had this movie on Netflix, and it's called Lift, and it's basically a heist movie. It's a heist movie where it was marketed, or the way they promoted it on the trailer is like a heist movie, like Ocean's 11 meets Italian Job meets Con Air meets a lot of stuff. Where basically they're hijacking some gold or something like that off a plane or something, and they working with the CIA. That's what I gathered from the trailer, but that's not what it's about, right? I mean, it was about that, but it was more detailed. But that's kind of the thing about the movie is I had to restart the movie a few times because I wasn't paying attention to the movie. I was just like playing on my phone. I just wasn't locked in. I wasn't glued in, right? So I just had to keep replaying until I caught what the movie was actually about, or anything. Because the the glaring thing about it is it's not a comedy. Kevin Hart's not being funny in any way or trying to be funny. He's meant to be this serious George Clooney in Ocean's 11 kind of debonair millionaire genius guy who does heist. And I won't give too much of the movie away, but that's pretty much the gist of what it's about. Now, the thing about it is, he's not very convincing in that role, which is weird because Kevin Hart is in interviews and just by all accounts is a very smart, bright guy. You have to be generate to become a billionaire entertainer. You have to have some kind of smarts or wit. But for some reason in this film, he does not pull off uh, genius uh, leader of a gang of heist guys. Um, and this movie was like thinly veiled. That it was a thinly veiled, like supposedly romantic action movie. Wasn't a lot of action, but him and the Interpol lady or had some kind of fling that they allude to throughout the movie. Anyway, the movie's trash. The movie's trash. I mean, that's the simplest way to put it. I'm gonna get straight to it just so we don't have to do it. And the reason why I start, by the way, welcome to I might be late on Monday. This live stream is slated to air on a Monday, but today is February 1st, Thursday. Cause hell, I might be late on Monday, so I'm just gonna do it today. You catch it on Monday. I guess we do it that way, right? But reason why I start with the Kevin Hart movie and it being terrible because I was wanting to see this Kevin Hart movie, and I was rooting for it to be good. I was rooting for this Kevin Hart movie to be that thing because when I think about Kevin Hart in a movie where he's the lead guy, he has no movie that's actually a good movie where it's a good script, it's good acting, it's convincing, it's fun to watch, and it's I guess you would say a classic. And whatever. I guess he got some kind of deal with Netflix, so he's putting out a bunch of these movies that are high budget movies. This movie's a high budget freaking movie. They on a plane, and but there's not. First of all, there's not much heist. There's not much hijinks. The the story is not believable. The acting isn't very good. Nobody is convincing in their role. Nobody. And the thing about Kevin Hart is, of course, Cat Williams shook up the internet earlier the start of the year, and he said Kevin Hart's a plant, which is not something that we haven't heard before. But the reality is, based on what a plant is, let's break down plant. Plant basically means that the industry has conspired to put you in position to win, either to make a lot of money off of you or for you to affect the masses in a negative or a positive way. You've been playing it to be successful. By definition, Kevin Hart is a plant. He was playing it to be successful. Here's the caveat: he failed at that setup to be successful. Yes, he came to L.A. and he had a movie deal, TV deal, or really in close succession, be a lead in a a major high budget movie that no one's ever heard of you yet, not on a large scale. But to his credit, he failed. It didn't work. It wasn't believable. A lot of things went wrong, but he was set up for him to be successful. Initially, he wasn't, so he went back to the grind. He grinded his stand up, and he built himself up. My thing with Kevin Hart is I'm a Kevin Hart fan. I like Kevin Hart. So it's when people say, "Oh man, he's not funny." If you watch Kevin Hart in interviews or just off the cuff, just being himself, he's obviously a funny guy. He's naturally funny. He made a business decision a long time ago to walk a very straight, narrow PC line to appeal to a broader audience. Doesn't talk about politics. Doesn't curse a whole lot. Doesn't not super derogatory. He's a clean cut, not very edgy black guy who can tread the line and people can enjoy it. Doesn't mean he's not funny. It's just that he's been manicured in a way to just be a broad comedian. Now, the template for that is Eddie Murphy. So of course he compares himself to Eddie Murphy. A lot of people compare him to Eddie Murphy. He says, "I want to be a comedic rock star like Eddie Murphy." That's out of his own mouth. So unfortunately, I judge him based on that barometer that he is the new and improved Eddie Murphy. And unfortunately, it's like when Jay-Z back in the day said that Memphis Bleak was the new and improved Jay-Z. Unfortunately, you've put him in the mold of a template that is hard to live up to. So you better be really good. So the thing about Kevin Hart is he's uber successful. People watch him. They love but there's nothing remarkable about the content that he puts out. Nothing remarkable about the movies he's put out. They're all recycled, regurgitated Hollywood ideas for the most part. The buddy cop, the clumsy agent, the nerd, the heist movie now. But what I realize is that Kevin Hart, for some reason, even though this is the first movie that was under one of the first movies that was under his production company, Heartbeat, and written by, I think, co-written or produced by Heartbeat and all that kind of stuff. One of the first big ones that he did with Netflix is this is the first time where he was intended to be not the butt of a joke, not the clumsy, reluctant hero, not the accidental hero, and he failed at it. Wasn't very good. Wasn't convincing. He just doesn't come off as cool, which is weird for somebody who I think is actually cool in real life. I think he's cool, but he doesn't like Eddie Murphy was cool. Like Eddie Murphy, when Eddie Murphy hit the scene, and in the '90s when he had his run in the late '80s and '90s, he was the biggest movie star in the world. He was smart. He was funny. He outsmarted the crooks. He wasn't the butt of the jokes. He wasn't a punk. He wasn't getting beat up. So the contrast with Kevin Hart is what makes it weird, makes it bizarre. Plantish, if you say. But that was my synopsis on the movie Lift. To me, it was a terrible flop of a movie. wasn't convincing, wasn't funny, wasn't entertaining, wasn't exciting. It was a terrible heist movie. When you start to rank the heist movies, it doesn't rank. You know, in the end montage that was kind of like an ode to like Ocean's 11, where this is what happened, this is how we pulled it off. Left a lot to be desired. It was trash. It was terrible. But it's the kid just black. Bay must fade fat where thinks she wish she beat she mad, not mad at me. This is I might be late on Monday, and welcome. So now if you, to the main topic of the day. Well, I don't know if I have a main topic of the day. It's just a topic. Super Bowl. What Super Bowl is? Super Bowl 58. Is it 58? I've been out of school for a long time, so the Roman numerals, my bad. It's an L and a V and a 3 and 3 and a F. I don't know. I think it's 58. Super Bowl 58. We have people who playing. We have San Francisco 49ers who've been hot for a majority of the year. They kind of fizzled towards the end, but Brock Purdy, the game manager extraordinaire, and Deebo Samuels and McCaffrey found themselves in the Super Bowl, as predicted early in the season. And now they await Patrick Mahomes, the new and improved Tom Brady 2.0, and the Kansas City Taylor Swifts. The Kansas City Chiefs with Travis Kelce and the guys. So this is not a sports show. It's not too crazy. Not I like sports, but it's not a sports show. If you want to see a sports show, go over to On the Bench with Bubba and Pink. They do sports. Sometimes I'm on there. They let me go against hosts, all that beautiful stuff. But this is about the Taylor Swift debacle, right? It really is not a debacle. It's just Taylor Swift. So Travis Kelce is, apparently dating Taylor Swift. I don't believe it. Now, before we go any further, if you don't know me, I don't believe anything is true. I don't believe anything to be true. I think it's all propaganda, programming, just in general in life. So, right now they're marketing it as Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift. I thought Travis Kelce liked black girls, but that's another conversation. Neither here nor there. Forget I said that. But him and his brother have a podcast, which is a very big podcast. Who knew? Two white guys that America loves. They have a big podcast and they're football players. But I think he shouted out Taylor Swift a few months ago. Then they magically met, and they started hanging out, and then there's pictures everywhere, tabloid, they're taking a private jet from such and such, and he bought a house to be more accommodating for Taylor. All in like 4 months or something like that. That's even fast for like a junior high relationship, but that's another conversation. We'll talk about that later. So, since they've been quote-unquote dating, she's been there in the skybox and the NFL, the CBS or ESPN, whatever network they're on, they pan to Taylor Swift 4 or 5 times a game. Not long, just a quick little, hey, Taylor Swift's up there. She's rooting for her man again. We get it. Rooting for her man. We get it. But anyway, so people are in the uproar. Oh man, why they keep showing Taylor Swift? And then there was like a TikTok challenge where women, I guess, pranking their husbands or their boyfriends and saying that Taylor Swift's making NFL popular, making Travis Kelce popular, and the boyfriends get real upset. Oh, he's not. He's a Super Bowl champion, and he's not. Ha ha ha. Whatever the case may be. Now, the thing with Taylor Swift is the biggest pop star in the world that we have seen since Michael Jackson. Unfortunately, hate to say that. Pains me to say that. I think she's a good songwriter. Her songs are catchy, very like pop. She has a formula that's very successful. She's the white Drake, which means she's bigger than Drake in the world's eyes, I guess. She writes popcorn songs and people love them. And so all these reports come out. Oh, Kansas City, their evaluation has jumped from $313 million more than it was before, just because Taylor Swift is attached to the company. That's when they started getting fishy. But that's when they started to feel like this is propaganda. This is silly because first of all, Kansas City Chiefs have been to the Super Bowl what 5 out of the last 6 times. 4 out of the last 5 times they've been to the Super Bowl. They won 2 Super Bowl championships in the past 3 years. To say to like give that credit to Taylor Swift that this is the reason why the evaluation is soaring, and I mean I'm sure there's a part of it because the eyes are good because like I started the conversation about Kevin Hart saying that being polarizing is better than being good is basically what I was alluding to. People hating you or loving you and there's no in between. And so the Taylor Swift adds to the polarity of the Kansas City Chiefs. And polarity means more money because we're in a land of clicks and impressions and people are watching and checking out what's going on. So this must be what it's all this must be going very great. It must be going very well. And so that impressions and add to perceived value. So Taylor Swift could very well have a lot of a lot to do with that evaluation going up, but it's kind of like a slap in the face to players who have won on a consistent level and been great, and they have a all time great quarterback who's already in a lot of people's eyes top 5 quarterbacks of all time already in 7 years of play because he's been to the conference finals, the conference championship every year. He's been a starter. They won Super Bowls. They've been great. Travis Kelce has the most catches all time in playoff history over Jerry Rice, the Jerry Rice. They should have a little bit of credit to why it's soaring. But it's just interesting. It's interesting where we are in sports. It's just all entertainment now. It's all entertainment. And I saw I was watching Shannon and Ocho. I was watching Shannon and Ocho. Um and or it's Unc and Ocho. I apologize. Unc and Ocho. And they're talking about um Taylor Swift as opposed to Beyonce, and Shannon Sharp was like Shannon Sharp was saying that Taylor moves the needle, further than Beyonce, which I don't think that was a crazy statement. I mean, she does. She just has a broader audience. Right? She has young, teeny bopper white girls, and just teeny bopper girls in general are probably half of everybody else. So all the white teeny boppers and half of everybody else, hundreds of millions of people. That's also another thing they said. They're projecting the Super Bowl to be watched by about 12 million more people because Taylor Swift may be there. Again, it's not because it's a historically great team and a historically great quarterback in the Super Bowl for the third time in a row or fourth time in a row. It's all Taylor Swift has to be. Shake it off, I suppose. But that's that's the humor in it. But I don't blame Taylor Swift. I'm just leery. I don't believe I don't believe anything to be true. I believe it's just it's a hustle. It's what can you do, right? But just thought I'd mention that. Um, what else happened in the news this week? Oh yeah, Chrisean Rock. Chrisean Rock's in the news. You know what's weird about Chrisean Rock? You know what's weird about the internet in general? There's like a weird fascination with Chrisean Rock. It's the weirdest thing because she's obviously um, not very bright. You know what I mean? It's obvious she obviously didn't get the fry in her Happy Meal, but it's like there's a there's an audience of people, namely like black women of all ages, 18 to 40, 50, 60, girls my age, 30, I'm 37 years old, it's girls, women my age who identify with Chrisean Rock. And I wonder like, yo, what's the this allegiance to Chrisean Rock? Now before I go into that, so she tatted the side of her face with Blueface on the side of her face. I mean that. Now I don't follow Chrisean Rock too crazy or Blueface for that matter, but there's such an enigma in pop culture right now that you have no choice but to be hit in the face with these people. You have no choice but to know that they exist. Um, but so anytime I tune in, and this is what made me first like tune in and see what was the fuss about. You know what I mean? Because and I'm naturally, I come from radio and I come from podcasting. I did terrestrial radio for a time, and I naturally want to dig into the facts of a thing. I naturally want to see what the hoopla is about, and this is no different. So then when I go down that rabbit hole to see who is Chrisean Rock, and I know who Blueface is. I know he was a rapper or whatever the case may be, and I started to look, and what made me look is I seen what's the guy, um, Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked talking about Chrisean Rock. He was saying, I mean, in Blueface as well. He was saying he was at this party, and it was the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, and just a lot Oprah, a lot of famous people were at this party, and the topic was Chrisean Rock. And so these people who run the world, apparently, quote unquote, run the world, are talking about Chrisean Rock. So now I have to know, okay, it's not just the shade room or just social media. This is a big thing. So I go do my due diligence research to go see what's the big deal, fuss about Chrisean Rock. So I see the interviews and see her talk, and see the interaction, see the fights, all the stuff you guys have seen. I went back and I checked it out, see what's going on. Yo, what's the word with this Chrisean Rock person, right? And I hear her talk and I hear her speak, and then so then it makes me more curious because first of all, everything that I seen before her being pregnant, she was super inebriated, super drunk, incoherent. Then when I seen her when she wasn't drunk, she still was incoherent. She barely can speak. Her barely can form sentences that make sense. And so I started saying like, yo, how are people so enamored and like because what happens on the internet is people will say something about Christopher Rock. You'll see her fans and people who follow her and support her will defend her, and you don't know and you understand it's all Blueface, it's all Blueface, it's all Blueface. I'm the kind of person where I don't believe that somebody can make you crazy or make you do this or make you toxic or make you do. I truly wholeheartedly believe that you get what you are at the time you are that thing. That's a mantra that I live by, and so she is just as much to blame as Blueface. But people argue that. I let them argue. But I wonder like what is no matter what she does, let's take the Blueface kid out of it. No matter what she does, it's excused away by supporters and identified with. Oh, I see myself in her. I was super for a man before I was doing. How do you how do you identify with dysfunction so much that you can't see that this young lady is slow, delayed, not very bright. You know, if you how do you not know that this young lady is not very bright? I'm I'm, I'm asking serious question. Serious question. How? And if you notice, and if you know that, yeah, she's not very bright, that's what it is. How do you defend it? It just seems bizarre to me. Just like listening to her talk, not even how she behaves and the things she's done. We've all done silly, stupid things, but just her the way that she talks is like there's something wrong with this lady. Like she's obviously not. She didn't get the Happy Meal, in her. She didn't get the toy in her Happy Meal. I don't think that's. I don't think that's even debatable. You know what I mean? It just seems, you know, weird. That's all I got, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like and subscribe. I ain't gonna talk your head off. Um, Today is February 1st, Thursday. This was supposed to be alive for this Monday. But who knows what I'll be doing on Monday? I'm a father. Got many jobs, many things to do. I might be late on Monday. So that's just my opinion at the moment. Ask me again tomorrow. I probably won't say the same thing. Y'all let me know what y'all think. And I'm gonna get up out of here.